Throughout history, the smallest moments have shaped the fate of nations. A delayed message, a misunderstood word, a handshake that lasted just a few seconds too long. Today, we're exploring the untold history of negotiation where seconds weren't just units of time. They were the difference between war and peace, prosperity and ruin. These are the moments that changed everything. The 6-second pause that prevented nuclear war. October 26, 1962. Soviet submarine B-59 was being hunted by American destroyers during the Cuban Missile Crisis. Depth charges exploded around them. Inside the cramped, suffocating vessel, Soviet officers believed World War III had begun. Captain Valentin Arkhipov had his hand on the authorization for a nuclear torpedo. His commanding officers were ready, but Arkhipov paused. Just 6 seconds of silence. In those seconds, he considered the consequences not just for his crew, but for humanity. He said no. He refused to authorize the launch. That single pause, that breath of hesitation, likely saved millions of lives. If Arkhipov had acted in those 6 seconds of panic, the Cold War would have turned hot, and the world would be unrecognizable. The typo that started a revolution. June 28, 1919. The Treaty of Versailles. An Austrian typist made a single error. 1 second of careless typing changed a word, shifting Austria's border description. This minuscule error would later be seized upon by Adolf Hitler as proof that the treaty was unjust, that Austria had been betrayed. He weaponized that typo in his speeches, using it to fuel nationalist anger. A 3-letter mistake, made in less than a second, became propaganda that helped ignite the rise of fascism in Europe. It's a haunting reminder that even the tiniest errors in diplomacy can cascade through decades of history. Churchill's 1-second decision. May 1940. France was falling to Nazi Germany. Winston Churchill had to decide, should Britain surrender and negotiate peace with Hitler, as many in his war cabinet urged, or fight on alone? During a crucial cabinet meeting, Churchill made a speech. It took him seconds to say the words that would define the war. If this Long Island story of ours is to end at last, let it end only when each of us lies choking in his own blood upon the ground. That moment of rhetoric, spoken in the span of a breath, steeled the resolve of his cabinet. Britain continued fighting. Had Churchill faltered, hesitated for just 1 second longer, the outcome could have been surrender. History turned on his conviction. The telegram that toppled an empire. July 1914. Tsar Nicholas Roman II received a telegram from his cousin, Kaiser Wilhelm Roman II. The message took seconds to read, but its meaning was profound. Germany was mobilizing for war. Nicholas had been wavering: should Russia mobilize to support Serbia or back away from the conflict? That telegram, that moment of reading its contents, convinced him. Russia mobilized. Within days, the whole continent was at war. The First World War, which would kill millions and reshape the world order, hinged on a monarch's seconds-long decision while holding a piece of paper. The handshake that ended apartheid. June 17, 1994. Nelson Mandela and F.W. de Klerk shook hands for the cameras after the first democratic election in South Africa. The handshake lasted only seconds, but in that moment, the world witnessed the symbolic end of one of history's most brutal systems of racial segregation. The negotiation process took years, but that single handshake, those few seconds of contact, became the image that defined the peaceful transition. It showed the world that enemies could become partners, that change could happen without violence. Those seconds contained the weight of centuries of struggle. The moment the Soviet Union dissolved. December 3, 1989. Ronald Reagan and Mikhail Gorbachev met on a ship in Malta to negotiate the end of the Cold War. The meeting lasted days, but the pivotal moment came in seconds when Gorbachev admitted that the Soviet Union could not sustain its military or its economy. Those few seconds of candid confession, that moment of vulnerability from the Soviet leader, signaled to Reagan and the world that an entire era was ending. The Soviet Union would formally dissolve just 2 years later. Those seconds of truth-telling between two leaders accelerated the collapse of a superpower and redrew the global map. The delayed message that changed history. November 1952. Secretary of State John Foster Dulles needed to send a message to Soviet leaders about U.S. intentions in Korea. The message was delayed. A communication error meant it arrived days late. By the time it reached Moscow, negotiations had shifted. The delay created a window of opportunity that led to ceasefire talks. What could have been an escalation instead became a de-escalation. A simple technical failure, measured in seconds and hours, altered the trajectory of Cold War diplomacy and prevented further bloodshed. Why seconds matter in negotiation, the science behind it. Neuroscientists have discovered that the human brain makes critical decisions in fractions of a second. When negotiators face high-pressure moments, a tense standoff, a last-minute ultimatum, their amygdala activates, flooding the body with adrenaline. In those seconds, people either fight or flight. The negotiators who can pause, who can delay their response by even a few seconds, activate their prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for rational thought. This is why the greatest negotiators in history weren't the fastest to speak, they were the ones who took a breath. They understood that seconds of silence, of reflection, of restraint, could be more powerful than any words. Studies show that negotiators who take time to think before responding achieve 23% better outcomes than those who react impulsively. The modern crisis, when seconds move at the speed of tweets. Today's negotiations happen at a speed our ancestors never imagined. A single tweet, sent in seconds, can trigger international incidents. The 2016 election saw foreign powers use seconds of coordinated media to influence voters. During the 2022 Ukraine crisis, Vladimir Putin made declarations in seconds that sent shockwaves through global markets and military installations. The challenge of modern negotiation is that the window for reflection has shrunk. Leaders must now manage expectations and crises in real time, with no time for the pauses that once defined careful diplomacy. Some argue we've lost something valuable, the ability to step back, breathe, and think. What these moments teach us. From the Cuban Missile Crisis to the Malta Summit, from Churchill to Mandela, history shows us that seconds contain immense power. The negotiators and leaders who changed the world weren't always the ones with the most force, the most money, or the most territory. They were often the ones who understood that in critical moments, timing is everything. A pause can prevent war. A breath can change minds. A second of courage can alter centuries. In our fast-paced world, where everything moves at digital speed, these historical moments remind us of something crucial. Sometimes, the most powerful negotiation tool we have is simply the ability to stop, to think, and to choose our next move with intention. That's the untold history of negotiation, not a story of grand speeches and dramatic signings, but a story of seconds, pauses, and the extraordinary power of a single human moment. The next time you're in a difficult conversation, remember these moments. Remember that history was changed not by the loudest voice, but by the ones who knew when to speak and when to pause. These seconds mattered then, and they matter now. If you enjoyed this video, smash the like button and subscribe so you never miss a video like this one.